Today, I want to answer a question I get asked quite often by yoga teachers in different forms. Where would I start? What should I focus on? What would you do if you were me? Hi there, I'm Susanne Riker, and I help yoga teachers build a thriving online business. Now, before I dive into that and answer the question, I want to clear this up. I'm a business coach, so I don't have a yoga online business, but I did yoga teacher trainings, multiple. I taught yoga in the past, and most importantly, I've been working with over 1,500 yoga teachers since 2016 who invested in my courses and programs. I've watched yoga teachers build businesses from scratch in the last 10 years and grow them. I've seen what works, I've seen what doesn't, and I've seen a lot of really talented yoga teachers spend years in the same frustrating place without understanding why. And I thought the most honest way to answer that is to just think out loud about what I would do actually if I were starting a yoga business today in 2026, knowing everything I know now from the outside looking in. My honest perspective on what I prioritize and what I skip. So that's what this video is about. Here's what I do differently. The first thing I do, and I do it from day one, is decide what I want to be known for. Not yoga teacher. That's not specific enough anymore. Even if you're just teaching locally, where, okay, you can be a bit more vague because your location is kind of your niche. But if you also want to grow online or you live in a bigger city, you need to realize there are hundreds of thousands of yoga teachers online, and most of them are teaching the same styles, talking about the same things, posting the same kind of content. If someone lands on your Instagram or your website and all they see is yoga teacher helping people find peace and balance, there's nothing there that makes them stay. There's nothing that makes them think this person is for me specifically. What I do instead is think really carefully about the intersection between what I'm generally good at, what I find interesting, and what a specific group of people actually needs. Maybe that's yoga for women going through perimenopause. Maybe it's yoga for men or for office workers. Maybe it's a specific methodology you've developed after years of practice. Maybe it's the way I combine yoga with something else entirely, like breath work or nervous system regulation or something that feels uniquely mine. Whatever it is, I'd build my whole presence around that thing rather than trying to be a yoga teacher for everyone. No. I know when you're just getting started, this can feel really hard or even scary, like you're supposed to have it all figured out before you even begin. But actually, I think being at the beginning is the perfect time to experiment because you're not locked into anything yet. You have the freedom to try different things, pay attention to what resonates, notice which topics make you come alive when you talk about them, and which ones feel like a chore. So, your niche very often reveals itself through the process rather than through sitting down and thinking your way to the perfect answer and to the perfect strategy. You need to try out things. So this is what I would do. I would start. I would simply start, pay attention, and let the focus sharpen over time. This is not a box you put yourself in for the next 25 years, right? You're allowed to pivot, to change your niche, to change your focus, but you just need to start somewhere. So, alongside getting known for something specific, I'd focus early on building an audience that actually belongs to me. I'd be on social media. Of course, that's where people discover you, and it matters. It's an amazing tool that we can use for free. So if you say, I hate social media, I don't like social media, and in a way, I get it. It's a very problematic platforms. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they are problematic. But for me, it really helped me reframe my thoughts around that in telling myself, yeah, this is a free tool that I can use to actually reach people. What did we have before social media? You could create an ad in your journal or print flyers. And now you have these free platforms to use your voice. So it's a great way for people to discover you. And the fact is also your potential students or even your actual students are going to check you out on social media. It's what we do in today's world. So this is what I do, but I treat social media as a way to bring people into something I control, not as the destination itself. Because the reality of social platforms is that they can change, they do, they change their algorithms constantly. They can reduce your reach overnight. You could lose access overnight. And what works today doesn't always work a year from now. So you're building on borrowed land. The audience you build there isn't really yours, but your email list is yours. So this is what I would do. I would start building my email list from day one, even if it's just a spreadsheet with 20 names on it. Although you can start for free with a free account on Kit, so I would do that, right? So even if the only people on it at first are students from the studio where you teach, or people who've taken a workshop with you, or friends, or your family, your mother, right? You write to them regularly, you share what you're thinking about, you give them something useful, and slowly that list becomes one of the most valuable things in your business. Every yoga teacher I've worked with who has built something genuinely sustainable has this, right? They have an email list they've been nurturing for years, and when they launch something, they have a warm, engaged audience to launch to. The ones who skip this step, they spend a long time wondering why their launches feel so hard. Okay, so the next thing I do is think about my offers much earlier than most yoga teachers think is appropriate or necessary. So here's what I see happen over and over again. A teacher starts teaching classes in a studio, online, maybe a drop-in Zoom class or a recorded library somewhere. They work really hard. They build a following slowly, and then they wonder why the income is so inconsistent, or why they're always chasing the next student, or why they can't seem to get above a certain level no matter how much they teach. And the answer almost always is the offer structure, not the quality of the teaching, the structure. The thing is, there's a ceiling on what you can earn from teaching classes and drop-in sessions because you're trading your time directly for money, very often not for a lot of money. And you can only teach so many classes without getting burned out. And on top of that, there's so much free yoga content available online now. Like YouTube alone has more yoga videos than anyone could ever watch. So that trying to compete on price or accessibility, like I post like free videos, every week. It's really, really hard to stand out with that these days. So that doesn't really work. You're not going to out-sheep YouTube. So the question becomes, what can you offer that YouTube or those low-priced, big, big, big yoga memberships can't? And the answer is a transformation, a real supported journey with you as the guide, not just access to content. So, what I built much sooner than probably feels comfortable is a premium transformational offer. And I want to be clear that I don't necessarily mean an online group program, although that's one option. And obviously, I love online programs. That's what I teach you to build. But it could also be a private yoga package built around a specific outcome, not just 10 sessions of yoga, but for example, a 12-week journey to do something specific that your client deeply wants, like, for example, handstand practice, It could be a coaching package if you have the expertise to support people beyond just the physical asana practice. The format matters less than the positioning. The question is, are you selling a collection of sessions or are you selling a transformation? Because those two things are priced completely differently and they attract completely different clients. And then I pair that premium offer with a low ticket entry point, something accessible that lets people experience working with me before they are ready to invest at a higher level. You need to build trust with people, give them a taste of your work with your free content and with low ticket offers. So, not because a low ticket offer will make you rich, right? It won't. It's very little money that you earn that way, but because it creates a natural journey. So someone finds me, they buy something small, they get a result, they trust me or they start trusting me. And when I invite them into something bigger, they are already a step ahead. What I wouldn't do is build a low priced yoga membership, hoping that volume will eventually make the numbers work, unless I would have a really big audience already somewhere else. It usually doesn't. The numbers usually don't work, and it tends to keep you stuck in a model where you're working harder and harder and harder for income that's really low and really, really hard to grow. And the last thing I do differently is stop waiting for some future version of myself to feel qualified enough to charge more and ask for more. This is something I see so often, and it breaks my heart a little. A yoga teacher who has genuinely helped dozens of people, who has real expertise, who has something valuable to offer. And she's still charging the same rate she charged when she first started because somewhere along the way she absorbed the belief that she needs more experience or another certification, more credentials, more followers before she's allowed to step into a more premium positioning. And I understand where that comes from. Yoga culture has a complicated relationship with money. There's quite a belief that if you really care about the practice, the business side of things shouldn't matter too much. That wanting to earn well is somehow at odds with being authentic or service oriented. But I spent years watching what happens when yoga teachers stay small financially, and it doesn't serve them or their students. You can't sustain a business, you can't invest in getting better, you can't serve your clients well when you're constantly worried about money. So if I were starting over, I'd build toward a premium offer sooner. I'd charge what the transformation is actually worth, and I'd get some support in doing it. Because almost nobody figures this out alone. The teachers I've watched make the biggest leaps almost always had someone in their corner helping them see their own value more clearly. So that's what I do. Get known for something specific, build an audience you own, create a premium transformational offer much sooner than feels comfortable. Pair it with a smart entry point and stop waiting to feel ready before stepping into a more serious version of the business. So that might sound like a lot, right? I get it. And above everything else, what I want you to hold on to is to stay in your own lane. Trust what you know. Don't give your power away to every new strategy or trend or voice that tells you you're doing it wrong or you should do this. You got into this work because you have something real to offer. And the business you are building is just the container that lets you offer it to more people and more sustainably for longer. And if you're at a point where you are ready to actually do this, the Yoga Business Intensive is happening this month, March 23rd to 25th. I would love to see you there. It's 3 live days where we work together on your idea for your signature offer, your sales system, and you leave with a profit plan. So you really have the next steps. You know what to do, what to focus on. There's going to be enough space for questions. You can ask me for feedback on your idea. We're going to brainstorm together. It's so much fun. I can't wait to start, and I would love to see you inside. You'll find the link to save your spot in the show notes, or you can go to my website, susannereike.com. And yes, so get in touch when you have any questions about that or about this episode. I hope I see you inside the Business Intensive. And otherwise, I talk to you soon. Bye for now.